This is the Let's Talk About It podcast, the podcast that aims to break down the wall between the consumer and the passionate people who aim to please them. Every week, I'll be interviewing another chef from my hometown of Albuquerque, New Mexico. At the end of each episode, we will make a one-of-a-kind taco that represents my guest and their passion. Again, this is Chef Dominic Valenzuela of Dia de los Tacos. And today, I'm featuring a good friend of mine from Las Vegas, New Mexico.
Yes.
Yep, Ernesto Duran. Great chef, heavily respected out here in Albuquerque, and very, very excited to talk to you, man. Why don't you let everybody know kind of a little bit about yourself?
How's it going? My name is Ernesto. Been living in Albuquerque for about 10 years, cooking around the different restaurants. Got my start downtown, born and raised Las Vegas, New Mexico, till I was around 18. Did a little stint in Denver, went to college up there. Didn't do any cooking up there, but, was able to land back in New Mexico and, began my cooking career around 21.
Awesome. What did you specialize in college, or what did you go into in college?
Finance management.
Oh, okay.
Believe it or not. Yeah,
nice.
I thought I was going to be pushing pencils and, probably hopefully I had CEO next to my name or something, But it's a different type of CEO, I think, that we can become in our world, but still very much possible.
Absolutely. I think that the unique thing about our industry is that you can add so many tools to your bag, and you can just really mold this career or this profession into anything.
Yeah.
You can turn this into $1 billion.
Yeah, it can evolve. Really beautifully.
So I mean, knowledge is absolutely power, and it doesn't end at just cooking.
It actually just starts.
Yeah. That's kind of just the artistic side of it, but you do need all those other things. That's one of the things that I loved about talking with you and stuff like that. Is you're just highly intellectual. I tell everybody that you have a chef IQ, probably the highest that I've ever seen.
Well, we have friends who are like bookworms, and so I'm lucky enough to have friends like him who will lend me books, and I try and there's a point in my life where I bought so many books that I was riddled with guilt because I wasn't able to even crack the edge of reading them all. So I did a binge buy, and I was not able to keep up with reading because we work so much, and the reality of it is it's not a bunch of glamour. It's a lot of grunt work, and so I was behind severely on reading, so I just started to do my best to read what I can. And obviously our phones are so dominant now, so if you're on a news sort of app or something, you can always gear your feed to be towards food, which is what I do. So I'm always looking through articles and new things, and trends just kind of fall your way that way, and you kind of just, your style just always evolves and grows with what's around you. And I try to stay up on what my friends are cooking and what everyone is cooking, not necessarily through social media, but just through contact with everyone. And I text you often, I text Mark often, I text Raul often, just to find out what everybody's up to. And obviously we eat each other's food, so that's another way.
Absolutely. What so as you said, you've been cooking 10 years? Is that it?
I've been cooking for about 14 years,
about 14?
Say total.
Okay.
10 years back in Albuquerque, I've cooked for 13 years in Albuquerque, but 3 years were kind of with my own spot. A year was in Santa Fe, and then, the rest have been with Hyatt. So basically, 7 years with Hyatt downtown, 3 years with Hyatt Regency Tamaya in Santa Ana Pueblo. And, so basically I've just been 10 years with Hyatt and 3 years, private sector.
Right.
Just learning the ropes.
Now, Raul said that that pretty much he got you into Hyatt, or something, right? Is that the story?
He sure did.
Tell us that.
Raul is my parents and Raul's parents were friends in high school.
Okay.
So we're very, very, old family friends. And when I was growing up, Raul was a little bit older than I. So I looked up to those guys, and my neighbors were his best friends. And, he was my neighbor from a little bit down the road as well. So we just grew up in the same hood. He was always just an older dude I looked up to. And they were not good influences. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I was looking up to the wrong guys, but we all ended up making it.
Yeah.
So, we all ended up in the same industry too. So it's pretty crazy. But, his early influence is probably going to be a dude named Sean Conway's mom who made burritos for everyone. She's still the the king of burritos in our hometown.
Oh, really?
So I guarantee some of Raul's influence came from some of that, and he has other influences like his family is deep in the game. So, but like I grew up seeing her too. So in my back of my mind, I was always like really into food. She was always her beans were always like phenomenal,
Right.
and her chili was always great, and so just Raul told me I was sleeping on a friend's couch. His best friend was his little brother was my best friend, so we were that type or generational.
Right.
I was sleeping on their couch, and Raul was just like, "Dude, get it together. Like, you cooked a little bit in high school. Go apply, go online because we were looking for jobs. Me and this other kid. He's like, go apply online. I applied at the Hyatt downtown instead of the Hyatt Bernalio.
Right.
I got hired at the Hyatt downtown. I ended up staying there for 7 years.
Yeah.
And then went from like cook one, which was the lowest cook, and then I left there. I was chef de cuisine.
Oh, wow.
And that was just like the rise that I had. But Raul got me to apply for it.
Right.
I would have never.
Can you break down for the listeners of chef de cuisine, like when they hear chef de cuisine, because everybody's like they just know chef and they think that's the high guy, but in reality, in kitchens of your size that you work at the Hyatt and Mark's size or whatever, you have many. Like it's like an army, like
I could break
a
it
brigade.
down for you by who they are. Mark Quinones is an executive chef.
Yeah.
I'm what would be like Mark Quinones' third in command. So he'll have an executive sous chef underneath him, and then he'll have a banquet chef, and then he'll have sous chefs and chef de cuisines. So basically it goes executive chef, executive sous chef, banquet chef, chef de cuisine, and sous chefs.
Okay.
And then assistant sous chefs or, supervisors.
Right.
And then cook 4, cook 3, cook 2, cook 1.
Right.
So that's the way it goes in our world. That's just for pay, grade, and for rank in the kitchen brigade.
Responsibilities.
Yes.
Yeah.
So as you evolve and get better, your ranking gets more, whether it be during when they assess how you've done during the quarter, or whether you're getting your raise that year, you'll possibly go to cook 2, cook 3, cook 4, supervisor, etc.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I'm a chef de cuisine. In my world, I've got another year of this. I've got 2 years to 3 years at executive sous chef level, and then I've got after that I can go on to be an executive. So you can't skip grades in our world. You've been in this.
Oh yeah.
So it takes time, and the guy who's above you has put the time in. So you never skip because everyone's done it.
Absolutely.
And never ever falters, and it is what it is. Obviously, there's phenoms out there who get it, and they pass you, and it is what it is.
Right.
Put your time in, you get your position, and you hold it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's it's kind of one of the things that not too many people understand, or a lot of the young generation, that especially grow up with so many windows to look out of, is just they get just the highlights of everything, and seeing you make beautiful food or whatever, and think that's what you do all day. No, but really it's a grind every day, and that you are the ones who fill in for those people when there's no when people call out, and like there's
and you have to
you carry a lot of weight at all these positions.
If you want to get a raise or you want to get a head in on someone, you have to really work hard. And I was not lucky because I was around some phenomenal cooks who are still cooking. Lisa Sanchez is still out there. She works for Hotel Albuquerque. Matt Schneeberger, Juan Ramirez, they all run kitchens already. And they were all line cooks with more experience than I in the kitchen before me.
Right.
And they were all cooks.
Yeah.
So Maddie had to become a supervisor. Lisa had to become a supervisor. Juan had to become a supervisor. And then I had to become a supervisor.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it was literally like I had to wait my turn. And Lisa and I ended up going on to do some phenomenal things with Cafe Bien.
Yeah.
We created a crazy concept there that was just like, I still think it's the best breakfast food that existed in this town. And I love every breakfast place in this town, but I loved being their colleague and their friend and working alongside them as well, competing against them because we know the Grove is the king and we know the shop is killing it. And I loved it, so it was great to be in their world. And, I'm not in it anymore, but it was just like super special to be able to do that with Lisa. And the food we did was just like scratch.
Right.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Loved it.
There's something different about, I think that's the difference between working for a large company or whatever that already has a brand, and then you're just playing your part in that.
Executing a vision that's not yours.
Exactly. And then there's actually going out, being that entrepreneur, creating your own brand, creating everything from the ground up, and you're like having your, just a little more like story behind it.
Yeah,
Would you say?
Add your own romance.
Absolutely.
That's why Dia de los Tacos kills it, because we all remember you in the truck and you were selling us the food, and Raul was my boy, so I remember Raul cooking it, but it was all your food, and these tacos were amazing. And,
right.
I remember discovering it right when you were leaving.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And that was like, I was pissed because it was just like, gosh, I want him to be around longer.
Right.
And then the crazy part about it is years later, Quinones tells me you were coming back, and he told you to come and apply with us, and I was just like, this guy's gonna come and work with me. I'm like, super. And then when I found out it was you, I was just like, and he's already a sushi chef with Hyatt, like, yes,
yeah,
he's gonna fit in perfectly. Why does he even want to come back here? This is my first question. But family is always the thing that brings us back here, and it is what it is. And you have a beautiful vision because you've done it both. You've done both, and I've done both.
Yeah.
And I was, super fan of the corporate world and the private world. I think they're both phenomenal.
Oh,
they're
absolutely.
fun. They're not without their challenges. Neither one.
For sure.
They're not without their perks.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was one thing that I really enjoyed about working. Everywhere I go, I try to create that family atmosphere. You know what I'm saying? Like I try to get along with everybody. I try to just create a nice, peaceful environment. I help everybody out, and you just like, to me, like the positions or whatever, and the rankings or whatever. If I'm a cook 1 or whatever, doesn't matter. I'm still going to be working as hard as if I was, just because that's all I know is just on and off. Like I always say,
there is always a pace with you and Koji. It's just like, there's a pace that you Koji George can't be matched. It's really not. And now I have a guy named my kitchen named Josh Plata. Same thing. He's like, you guys have a pace. It's just, it's like you're ready to be running your own kitchens already. That's what I used to tell you. Koji's the same way. George, Josh, they should have their own kitchens. Just the way the world doesn't work that way. So they're very smart in waiting their turn. Because like I've told them, I was a cook for 5 years at Hyatt before I ever even created a dish.
Right.
They had me looking at a whiteboard with a list on it, marking off a list as I finished it, and that was all I was able to do.
Yeah.
Because you have to get some skill and some sharpness before you can go and create the art. Because the art is really just a hallmark thing. I think we're all very much tradesmen.
Right.
We have a skill and we bring that to the table.
Yeah.
We manage budgets. We create menus that make sense, that aren't just foo-foo. Mark Quinones has this beautiful food, but damn well that guy can create a brunch menu for 11 ladies.
Oh yeah.
That are on a budget. And still serve them the best mimosas they've ever had.
Yeah.
Because he can do that. It's not just like this air-inflated thing that we're bigging ourselves up.
Right.
I'm not even on social media because I had to redo my whole outlook on things and kind of like refocus my life on food and dealing with my new world at the Hyatt Tamaya, because that kitchen is extremely demanding, and it's not for people who are not willing to deal with challenges. And
absolutely.
Every day is a challenge, and that's how you become part of a championship team and a team that's considered to be the best.
Yeah.
Which is what we were and are over there, and we're just on the daily grind, and I just had to make sure that my path was just focused singularly on success in that kitchen and fitting in and making sure that I'm fiscally responsible with that expensive product that they have me with corn Maiden.
Yeah, it definitely takes that self-discipline inside of, like, I tell a lot of cooks or whatever, like, it doesn't, like, your schedule from 12 to 8 or whatever, that doesn't mean that you stop learning or trying to improve once you're done here. You don't just try to improve here. Continue to try to improve outside, any kind of free time that you have, like watch cooking videos or whatever. Yeah. Just try to get there has to be more to it. Otherwise, you're gonna be in this for the wrong reason, which is the money, which you're right there. If you're in it for the money, you're absolutely in it for the wrong reason.
There's that big interview that, Thomas Keller had where he says, passion kind of fades and wanes away. I want cooks with the desire.
Yeah.
If you have the desire, then, there's nothing, not a bad day, not me yelling at you, not, us having a fight on the line during lunch service. That's not going to steer you away from the world. It's going to actually make you more driven.
Mm-hmm.
So he wants people with the desire. That's all I want when I'm looking for people in the kitchen is I want to find out if they have the desire to really do this, because it's not fun and games.
Mm-hmm.
You know, chances are during lunch service or dinner service, I'm gonna yell at you about something,
Mm-hmm.
and it's gonna be something that, because this is like life or death to me. This is as serious as a heart attack. I love this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
This is my creations, and when we're cooking this food, I want everyone, and I don't have to. I promise you, you know it better than I do. I don't have to deal with that in coordinating because everyone is like so good.
Yeah.
It's our other outlets where we're dealing with people who are bringing up,
Yeah.
younger generational cooks who are. We have a lot of interns now.
Yeah.
Indonesia, the Philippines, and India.
Mm-hmm.
And these kids are phenomenally driven.
Right.
So they don't have the skill set yet because they're very green. They've never cooked, let alone they've never cooked our food.
Right.
So they're green, and
Yeah.
we're teaching them from zero.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be kind, and you have to be, gentle but assertive. And I have a way of doing this.
Yeah.
I'm not cruel, but I'm very, very to the point, and I need you to understand this. And I tend to get the person to understand what I'm trying to get them to understand.
Yeah.
So without scaring them away, because
Right.
you can be, when you're that young and new, you can be scared away,
Right.
and you could be like, "F this."
Yeah.
I'm not gonna deal with that,
Right.
because I don't need it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not worth it. It's $11 an hour.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where that's not what we dealt with. We dealt with a little bit less than that.
That's actually another thing that I wanted to get into was kind of the back of the house pay, and how there's a lot of play. Not everywhere you go, but there's always a kind of butting heads between the back of the house and the front of the house, especially when you got the front of the house demanding something from you guys, and it's their, I they do their job, and and as long as they do it well, but it's.
I've always been of the belief that, they're making a lot of money off of my talent.
Yeah.
So there's got to be mutual respect there, and I'm not a waiter hater.
Mm-hmm.
I big up them because we need them
Absolutely
to deal with us and to deal with the guest. They have to deal with double.
It's a double. It's a different skill
I have
set.
to deal with the guest, but only I do. My cooks don't have to deal with the guest.
Yeah.
So I have to deal with them, and I have to deal with the guest, but I'm the only one.
Yeah.
And I'm compensated tremendously well for that.
Mm-hmm.
They are compensated amazingly well for the time that they put in compared to what they make.
Right.
Especially in my restaurant,
Mm-hmm.
average check per person is pretty high.
Yeah.
So they have the opportunity, if they're good enough, to really do well.
Right.
But in our world too, they can't get to my restaurant until everyone in that world makes them pay too.
Absolutely.
So those who are serving in there have been serving for a long time in all the other outlets and doing breakfast, lunch, dinner, bars, plaza, pool, banquets.
Right.
You put your time in, so you get what you earn, and that's the way it is in our world too. In the front of the house, they make a lot of money. Cooks they're training towards the time and day where they can make pretty decent dough.
Yeah.
So if they're driven in our kitchen, you have opportunity to make your 40 or 50 hours at times.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's why I've always like I started out probably back of the house at like $6. This is like $6 an hour, and then the job that I got in California maybe started at 10, but it's like the minimum wage continues to rise, but the cost of living is rising way higher. You know what I'm saying? And then the thing is that when the minimum wage rises, say you got a raise a week before that or whatever, and then the minimum wage rises right behind it, you don't get a raise too or whatever. Like you already got your raise or whatever. So maybe you got bumped up to 12, but then the minimum wage raises to 10, and you're like, well, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So it's like stuff like that can get very deflating, I think, for a lot of chefs. And getting yelled at, especially when you're a passionate chef and the way things aren't going right that day because you're handling a lot of stress and the way you act on somebody, it depends on how their day goes and how they're able to handle that. they may
Dealing
just
with real humans
yeah,
here.
they may just
And now
just
they're
be
not
like, you know what,
robots.
fuck this, I don't need this.
Yeah.
But
That's where I've always had the vision of I know what my goal is.
Yeah.
I know the result I want.
Yeah.
I'm willing to be manipulative to the fact where I'm not going to be cruel to you ever, even though I'm extremely upset with you. I know what I want to have, and I want the plate to be finished quickly.
Yeah.
So why would I beat you up? And this plate's going to take an extra 3 minutes to make,
Right.
as opposed to just let's get this out of here. I'll look you in the eye the whole time, so you know that I'm very serious about this, and we'll finish the plate fast.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and as opposed to just like yelling at someone, I'm always just like, oh, why? And then I move on.
Yeah, yeah.
I ask them why. You know, like so they know that I'm
Yeah, yeah.
dead serious and we can go forward. You know, but I don't stop and yell because our goal is to serve the guest, and you know our kitchen's open.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to make a fool out of everyone.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
kitchen all conversations in our kitchen are held in offices, you know, behind closed doors. Sometimes they're held in coolers,
Right.
walk-in coolers. They're not held on the line during service.
Yeah.
I simply ask why, we move forward, and then I'll address all the whys throughout the night.
Absolutely.
You know.
Yeah, I simply ask if I get like some sort of like, you know, aggression or kind of grinding of the gears or whatever, you know, I just kind of look at them and say, "Are you okay? Do you want to be here?" You know, and let them answer. No, I don't feel like. Okay, get off the line. Go.
I could finish this alone.
Yeah, yeah, get it. You know, because, but ultimately, yeah, the same thing of just this job has got to get done regardless. You know what I'm saying? So either you stay here and you help me, or whatever, and I'll help you figure out how to do this easier, or yeah, then
Or I'll
just
finish it
get
alone.
out of the way.
Yeah.
Just get out of the way because it'll be a lot easier for us. So really, like, you know, we go back about like building that family environment, that team environment. You know, everybody's got to play their role. I asked you earlier if you were an NBA fan. You know, what type of player, or, you know, maybe give me a list of 3 NBA players that you respect and would wear their jersey.
Okay, well, I'm a fan of greatness.
Yeah.
So I like people who demand it.
Okay.
LeBron James is the top of that list currently. Kyrie Irving is definitely atop of that list because of his skill level.
Absolutely.
And I think his mind has come around to being in the right headspace. I definitely respect a great like Magic Johnson. You know, I'm a Laker fan, so he left us recently, but he's the type who transcends any of his decisions after he played the game for us. So I don't really care what he does. He did so much for the Lakers, for the organization, to just cement us. And that's not to take away from the logo, Jerry West, because he's the man. But Magic, like, he can do no wrong in my eyes.
Yeah.
And I was thankful for the time he gave us. I wish he would have went through with it because he was like, you know, don't judge me on this first year, judge me on 3 years, and
Right.
he didn't finish that. So if we could have judged him on it, and I think he would have done better. But whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like I said, he can do no wrong. But those 3 guys, and Magic for me, like he evolved the game because of his style. You know, he was like big, but he could pass. And I've always been a bigger dude, but I've always felt like, you know, I was a quarterback.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So I feel him, and just like, I don't care my size. I'm going to be a point guard.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I'm still a better passer. So
Yeah,
why the
yeah.
hell? You know, that's the same with me. It's like I was still great at passing the ball, great at kicking the ball. But when you're playing football, they don't want to let the fat dude kick the ball or
Yeah,
throw
yeah.
the ball. It's just what it is, like a glamour thing.
Right.
You know, and I was better than a lot of these kids, but it just didn't happen.
Right.
You know, so I love Magic for that.
Yeah.
And I love people who play out of their position.
Yeah.
So LeBron can play every position.
Oh, absolutely.
I love him. He's a beast. Kobe's my man.
Yeah.
He's my favorite player of all time. I love him. He's just like a killer.
Right.
You know, he doesn't care about anything but winning. And that's not necessarily a role model or anything, you know. But that's not what we respect about him. You know, another one is, you know, big ups to Tiger.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Oh, yeah, man.
You know, Tiger, like, jeez.
Just took home another Masters, huh?
And it's the hardest one to win.
Yeah.
So I think that it opens the door a little bit more for him.
Yeah. I think it goes to say, like, just never give up, you know? And it's always, like, just get up.
Desire.
Do it all over again tomorrow, or whatever. Fix it.
He had a desire, man. He couldn't walk.
Yeah.
So he had surgeries and all that put him down, man. And we've all had ups and downs. You know, we have to turn tragedies to triumphs. And you don't do that without having a tremendous amount of grace.
Mm-hmm.
And this comes in winning and losing. You know, I feel like that word is not appreciated and not understood. Is, you know, when I win or when I, you know, defeat someone in a competition, or when I do well in something, or you know, get an award, or you know, anything, get a pat on the back from my chef, it's always received with grace.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I'm not a cocky asshole.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the same with losing. You
Right.
know, I do it with grace, and if I have to like feel a certain kind of way about it, then I'll just kind of like remove myself from the situation. You know,
Yeah,
because I don't
absolutely.
want to be appear to be not gracious for you know being given the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I always want to win.
Yeah.
I'm competitive, so that's the way I am. But I think that if we live our life, you know, it's a series of ups and downs, tragedies, triumphs. Lots of stuff happens to us. People die,
Mm-hmm.
and all this. But we have to continue on, and you know, if you can keep that like level playing field, like you know, the shit doesn't really matter.
Right.
You know, you can really get through some shit.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
life is hard.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Well, you never know where you're going to end up, and how somebody in the past or whatever can be that hand that reaches back for you to
Yeah.
help you up again along the next step. You know, like it's a constant, gradual incline. You know, and that you got to just keep moving forward. One of the things that I often think about, you know, my fear myself is to be homeless, like to ever be homeless, you know, and to be that guy on the street. And out here in New Mexico, for some reason, there's a lot of it, you know. And I don't know if it's just lack of passion or whatever it was, but I feel that, like whenever I get too comfortable, like I feel it like coming to get me, you know. And I swim faster, I swim harder, I grind harder. You know what I'm saying? Just to try to push to get further ahead. Buy me a little bit of time, but it's like almost like I guess maybe like a treadmill kind of thing, you know, where you stop moving, then you gradually start sliding back, you know.
Storm.
Yeah, so you gotta keep that forward progression, even if you're just at a walking pace or whatever. Just as long as you keep moving forward, you'll get there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
Drive.
yeah, but I think yeah, it does take. You gotta find that passion in you, and so you gotta try a lot of different things, have a lot of failures or whatever.
Yeah,
and
you learn from them.
Mm-hmm.
Losses are, you know, it's like getting an education.
Yeah.
You know, and when you lose in life, or you lose someone, or you know, you could take away a lot from a lot of this stuff, and there's lots to be learned from, you know, taking an L.
Right.
You know, getting fired. You know, getting let go, or just moving forward, moving on.
Mm-hmm.
There's lots to be learned from it, and when something ends, you know, you just have opportunity for that next thing.
Absolutely.
To pop up and look at you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just like resilience.
Yeah.
And if you're resilient, you can conquer most anything, and you stay on that pace and stay grinding. And there's like little that can harm you, get in your way. You know, and especially with the momentum that you're building.
Mm-hmm.
It's some real special stuff, and it's badass.
Oh, thanks, man.
For sure.
So being a competitive guy, you know, they have the 505 food fights out here and stuff like that. Do you think about getting into that, or?
Yeah, I was in the first one against Sean Staggs at what was it called, Soul and Vine.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, David Ruiz was in it. He was the one doing it, and it was the very, very first one. And you know, I went against Sean, and I don't remember the ingredients or anything, but you know, I think we both killed it, and he beat me, and that's my boy.
Yeah,
he does killer food.
Sean's incredible.
You
Sean's
know,
gonna be on the podcast coming up.
He's amazing. I love that guy. So it was like, in the back, we were just like laughing, having a good time.
Yeah.
We were sweating like animals. And I don't know if anybody's ever sweat that much, bro. But gosh, dang it, it was ridiculous. So his kitchen was so freaking hot.
Right.
But it was fun, man. And I think I made two kinds of pastas, and then the young lady who was like judging was like gluten free or some shit.
Oh,
no. I don't think I did her any favors, nor myself. So took an L. Yeah, it was fun though. Raul made me a taco cone that night.
Oh,
you know, the deep fried tortilla mixed with all kinds of stuff.
Right.
Because he was outside doing the food.
Really?
Yeah, he was the food truck that night.
Oh, nice.
You know, so he's providing food for everyone, and he made me one of those, so I ate it before my competition. like an animal. Yeah,
Nice.
but yes, I love it, man. I think that that's good for the culture. You
Absolutely.
know, it's wicked to see everyone coming up, and I've told like Lero from Albuquerque the magazine that like that he should, how there's like a best chef category. I think there should be a best line cook category.
Yeah.
So one of our boys, one of our cooks gets
Hmm.
the nod and gets put in the magazine, like,
Absolutely.
because my guy Koji, bro,
Hmm.
you know Koji, dude, he's
Yeah.
the best line cook in this
Oh,
town, is
this
he
guy,
not?
you guys
That
insane,
guy
man.
is
Yeah,
insane,
yeah,
bro. He's better than all of us.
yeah. He's got just that silent confidence, to it,
I
man.
love that guy so much. So I just feel like, I think we should get that category somewhere,
Yeah.
even if it's not in Albuquerque the magazine. I think it should be somewhere, and it could be something real special for a team.
It could almost be like the NBA All Stars. They have that like those like the dribbling or like the
Yeah,
point guard competition
yeah,
or whatever. Dribble it, pass it, shoot or whatever. You do
exactly.
that
The
with the line
skills.
cook skill test. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
dude.
saying? And just have like your top three, and then
Like
just have it.
10 melons,
Yeah.
and have them peel the melons to get to the end. Coach, you would assassinate everyone.
Oh man, that would be insane.
Man,
Maybe even for the 505 food fights,
a
maybe
live
that's
demo,
part of the competition too, or whatever. Is you come with one of
skill
your line
set,
cooks, they got to go through the skill test first,
and then you guys begin.
and maybe that gets you, and then and once they finish, then they basically pass the
That's
baton on to
crazy
you
because you
or
really
whatever.
are only as good as your line cooks, man.
Absolutely, that
That's
would throw a whole
You
new.
should talk to Mike.
Oh man.
He's flexible.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Mike would love that idea.
Oh yeah,
He
man.
would love that idea.
Oh,
Guaranteed.
Mike loves it.
Have
Man.
you got him on this?
Not yet. He's actually
coming, yeah?
he's next week. He's
gonna
next week.
kill. I
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
wait for his.
Yeah, we did the Kitchen Kids. Oh, shit. Sorry, we're gonna take a quick break. I got a. Oh, no, we're gonna keep going. We got a special delivery here at the restaurant. Uh, yeah. That's fine. Anyways, yeah, Mike White, he's doing a lot of great things in town. One of them is the 505 Food Fights. The other, another one is,
Great ass menu.
yeah, his restaurant up there is incredible. And then Kitchen Kids, where he's helping to, teach kids about cooking lessons and stuff like that. And he's doing an incredible job with that. Getting groups of kids of like 30, for like 4 or 5 weeks or something, I think like that. Last week we did pancakes. I think today actually we're gonna be doing tacos.
Wow.
Yeah, or sushi. I don't even know, but like some of these menus, like these kids are like 5 to 7, or maybe 5 to 10, I want to say, and the menus are not easy.
No.
like we did pancakes last week where we actually had to separate the eggs, mix in the egg yolk first into the batter, and then we take the egg whites, whip them up, into stiff peaks.
How's their attention span?
Oh my god! Well, that's where I utilize their energy. It's like, here, whip this. Just keep going. I'll tell you when to stop. And they're like, ah. But their attention spans are pretty good. I mean, you're constantly having to wrangle them up. But
how fun is that?
it's so fun, so rewarding. Man, such a good time. So shout out to Mike for doing that. I believe he's gonna be on next week's podcast.
Very cool.
So it's gonna be real fun to talk with that guy, man.
Killing it.
Oh, absolutely. So I don't know. I think we talked about it before, but maybe you could let everybody know about kind of what's your style of cooking. Like what is your signature on?
Well, I started to really discover it, when I landed at the Hyatt Regency Tamaya. I'm born and raised New Mexican, so, I was always like wanting to just leave, travel, and, be a part of a different market, and that was my goal. And when I landed at the Pueblo, um, everything kind of changed because Chef Cheryl she's amazingly highly trained, and she's doing New Mexican food and native food, furthermore, in like such a graceful, finite style. It says there's a lot of like refinement attached to the food that she does there, and I had like meld my style into that, and I think that like it's become who I am, and it's like I can appreciate doing New Mexican food with refinement, and I don't have to have this chip on my shoulder like there's some sort of inferior product going on the plate. And I could put beans on the plate, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's gonna be some phenomenally cooked beans,
Yeah.
and there's gonna be a ton of flavor attached to them. And you know, I put them with chicken, and I put them with duck, and you know, I cook beans a lot on my menus.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I cook squash a lot on my menus.
Right.
You know, obviously blue corn, because Tamaya produces phenomenal blue corn, which we use in our pancakes and you know many other preparations. Um, just realizing that my style is new Mexican,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that's what it is, and that's what it's going to be forever. And wherever I go, they're going to get a taste of this there.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to go and do some, you know, Cajun food in Louisiana.
Right.
I'm going to go do New Mexican food with some sort of fusion that's going to be graceful and beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
That's not going to be stretching or reaching for anything.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's reaching, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so I can usually meld things together that I want, you know, to be done. And we use French techniques and everything we do, and Italian techniques and Japanese techniques. So, you know, we can just do it in using indigenous product or using product within 100 miles of the pueblo or whatever. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so there's many ways for us to be responsible and for us to do it right. And my style is to be true to time and place.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can, you know, at the moment, my chef gives me a set of parameters, and then I create my menus off of that.
Mm-hmm.
But if it was truly only mine, when I had Cafe Bien, my vision was to do things from scratch and to try and do things that, you know, were representing things that were like us. So I would use certain Kaiser pork belly.
Yeah.
You know, I went to his farm. A friend of mine knows him very well. You know, his pork is the best pork I've ever used in my life. And I promise you, you know, I know one of your questions later on is what do I do the best?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I'm pretty sure my pork belly is the best pork belly in this town. And I haven't made it in, well, 4 years.
Oh,
But
wow.
I promise you that I'll go brine some bellies right now for the next, you know, 24 hours. And then I go and, you know, confit them for 10 hours after that. And then I cool them down and, you know, cut them up. And then I sear them with some, you know, maple syrup and some cayenne pepper.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the best bacon you ever had in your life.
Oh, wow.
You know, so I know I can do those things.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like mine is the best.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so Kaiser was part of that. When I first used his bellies, I was just like, what the hell?
Mm-hmm.
This is the best ever, you know. So he's at La Montanita Market. I see that guy doing Robert Kaiser, I believe is his name.
Yeah.
He's the man.
Yeah.
You know, his pigs are the dopest.
Got
Highly recommend them.
the
I
dope.
come and eat your belly all the time.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I don't need it, just anybody's.
Yeah,
Yours
yeah.
and Mark's is like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
it's my top stuff. You
No,
know, so
absolutely.
just-
No, dope piggies. Shout out to those dope little piggies out there at Kaiser's.
You know what I'm saying? That
New-
Berkshire pork.
Got
You know what I'm
that New Mexico.
You know?
No, I totally get that because that's, you know, I'm very regional in the style of cuisine that I like. So I like being limited to whatever I have.
Yeah.
So that's why I had to go and grab all these different skills or whatever. So then that way can manipulate squash into 100 different ways. You know what I'm saying? Because that's very important to get all these different experiences. You know, one
Squash
of the
is versatile, man.
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
One of the things that I wanted to do was, you know, bring sushi to New Mexico, but I don't want to bring it like, you know, I don't need to go to the ocean and grab all the fish. You know, we have fish out here, but not only that, we also have all these beautiful this beautiful produce out here, and then also the game that's out here too. You can still do sushi with that stuff because sushi is defined as seasoned rice, so anything that's on seasoned rice. And what's beautiful about it is that when you in Japan, you know, they have an abundance of seafood out there. All this, you know, it's like another planet. All the stuff that they're pulling out from the ocean.
You don't even know the names of the stuff.
Exactly, you know, and they're able to manipulate them all different ways. They all are very unique. You have like, you know, hundreds of different types of clams or whatever, and each one is different. And by having sushi, you're able to taste these subtle differences in them. So what you could do with that in New Mexican cuisine is show the subtle differences of all these different cuisines
Chilies
of the
and peppers squash,
the yellow squash, the
Yeah.
zucchini, the
Totally.
Mexican squash, you know, all these
carrots,
different things.
garlic, onions.
Yeah, all these different things that we grow in such abundance out here. So that's something that I'm looking forward to showcasing later on. You know, we'll just keep your eyes out for that. You know, but
Fun stuff.
um, no, what? So you said your pork belly is the best dish.
Dopest.
Yeah. What is like your like what is the most homey New Mexican food to you? Like what reminds you, just comforts your soul?
Um, you know, my mom will make me green chili chicken enchiladas, and then I'll eat them with the classic with beans, tortillas, rice.
She makes a
But then,
casserole, or
yeah, she makes a casserole.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
next morning, then I eat it with eggs.
Mm-hmm.
That's my shit.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know? So that's my number one meal on the planet. My mother-in-law, my mom, they both make it for me. My mom makes me pork chops and papitas on an old ass cast iron skillet,
Yeah.
and the potatoes burn and the pork burns, and that is like with red chili, with old red chili from like the day before,
Yeah, yeah.
warmed up with fresh tortillas.
Right.
That is like another of my favorite meals on the planet.
Right.
Really, it's my favorite stuff.
No, my mother, she loves to make green chili enchilada casserole. So you thinking about that? You talking about that right now? All those memories of that.
I love it.
I think that's yeah.
I'd rather have it than anything on this planet.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
crazy, and we can make like great seafood and all this great stuff, but I would rather have enchiladas.
Absolutely.
Than it's
Absolutely.
craziness.
Yeah.
I'll eat the whole damn casserole.
Just fry a bunch of eggs. Put
I
a
don't play
bunch of
around,
eggs
man.
on top.
When they ask me if I want it, I'm just like, yeah, but make the whole casserole, because don't just send me a portion.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's just gonna
that's just
piss me
cruel.
off.
That's just cruel.
I'm gonna eat that before I leave the house.
Then do you put a raw onion on it?
I do if it's there, but if it's not there, I don't.
Yeah, yeah.
But whatever's there will get thrown on them.
Right.
I love them. And we have these ones at the resort, and it's the chef's creation. She takes chicken breast, bakes it off, puts it through a buffalo chopper, mixes it with cheese and sour cream. Mixes it with cheese and sour cream, and then we stuff it inside blue corn tortillas, right? And we blanch softly, because you can't do that. You'll ruin them if you don't do something to them. And then we roll them up, and then we serve them 2 at a time.
Nice.
But they're about 8 ounces of filling, 4 in each tortilla.
Right.
And then we smother them with chili,
Yeah.
But they're wicked, man.
Oh, yeah.
It's different. Sour cream, jack cheese, and chicken breast mixed together. That's the stuffing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then
yeah.
No, I remember cooking those over there.
Those are so good.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? That's a cool manipulation for enchilada, for a composed plate.
Right.
I'm used to having it in casserole, and people in the restaurant often make me layer their tortillas.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, we've made this chicken enchiladas simple for you, but sure, I'll layer it with 3 tortillas, and I'll put all kinds of pulled chicken on there.
Yeah.
If that's what you want,
Right.
I would love to make you a casserole and cut you a perfect piece, but it's not reality for the world we live in. So we make the 2 and we do it that way. But we do whatever they want.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's kind of our job,
It doesn't look beautiful in the end when you've just put everything on the plate, but if that's what they want.
What's the Hyatt's motto is? We. Do you know?
Thoughtfully sourced, carefully served.
Yeah. There you go.
So and we what is it? So you can be your best.
Yeah, something.
Right.
Something we
take care of you so you could be your best.
Yeah, something along those lines. Dang it, sorry.
Yeah, that's a good one. But our food mantra is food thoughtfully sourced, carefully served.
Nice, I like that.
Yeah, so
I like that.
If you keep that in mind when you're doing stuff, and you'll be on the right path.
Absolutely. What is one of your favorite ingredients to work with?
I love scallops.
Scallops, yeah.
I love when scallops are perfect and they sear with that beautiful caramel color.
Mm-hmm.
Top and bottom rings, and
right.
And serve it with some citrus brown butter.
Mm-hmm.
That's my favorite thing to cook. It's most you feel the best about it when that's done and you're basting them in that butter, and then you take them out and you make the sauce with the butter. Yeah, and it's just like, wow, dude, it's just like the best dish.
Absolutely,
I love making that.
You reminded me of brown butter. I remember working with you and stuff, and we would just geek out. We'd talk about food and stuff, and you would say just brown butter. I just remember using the term brown butter a lot, and for some reason in my career I hadn't used brown butter too much in any of my food.
So much nuttiness to stuff.
Absolutely, yeah. So then when I went back to San Diego and I started working out there, I started incorporating it with some sushi. I started making some brown butter ponzus and stuff like that. Brown butter sauces, sauteing onions in brown butter and using that to top off my sushi with. and just created a whole new layer of flavor. But that was inspired by you, and just like why another reason for this podcast for us to let out some of these ideas or whatever, and kind of just talking.
Everyone loves the smell of popcorn.
Absolutely.
What you don't realize is the smell of popcorn often is the brown butter.
Yeah.
It's the butter browning and caramelizing, and you're like getting this crazy smell. And when I discovered that was the smell behind popcorn, and the reason why I loved it so much, I always wanted to incorporate it into my food because I felt like there's like a euphoric, psychiatric connection or psychological connection between the smells that we have. Obviously, they're very euphoric, and so if you smelt this brown butter when you're having some scallops, and I put corn in scallops, so subconsciously there's a popcorn thing. Yeah. And I've served popcorn with scallops on purpose because of the smell.
Right.
And I believe that when you smell popcorn, you're taken off to a certain state.
Yeah.
And you drool, and everything starts to open up, and with most people. So I'll incorporate the brown butter smell into my scallop dishes often.
Nice.
And I try and use the popcorn scent.
Yeah.
And that's just something I've never actually expressed out in the open, but it's just something that came to my mind a very long time ago. And it's been like a secret of mine. And I put brown butter in a lot of shit to do with corn.
Absolutely.
Atole and brown butter.
Oh yeah.
They're stupid together, and it's popcorn, bro.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's the thoughtfulness that goes into just what it takes to be a chef at a certain level or whatever, and to be recognized, by the consumers, and then they're just like,
set yourself apart.
Yeah, that's
execution of
that's
flavor.
that magic.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Oh no, I had it. Oh, jeez, sorry. Don't pray for it. Oh man, I had a good tangent off of that, man. I totally lost it. Oh, that's what it was. Okay, Japanese. So Japanese, when they do yakitori, a lot of people don't know they use binchon charcoal, which doesn't have any aroma. So it's not like out here in America where we cook and barbecue off of hickory and mesquite and cherry, which has its own flavor, and that gets incorporated into the meat.
High heat.
They do, it gets very high heat, but it doesn't have an odor or a flavor. And so what you get is when that fat melts from the animal and it hits the charcoal, the steam is its own flavor. So it gets pretty much
it's its own carbon.
It gets infused with its own flavor or whatever, So chicken is getting infused with chicken carbon flavor, and that's
the beautiful part.
That's
about it.
so beautiful. Yeah, and why
that's
people
why it's superior tasting, because it's its own charcoal from itself. It's as if they made charcoal with chicken and burnt that shit, and then that's where you're getting the smoke from. It literally is that. I watched a video on that, and I couldn't understand the concept until they were just like, they said that it's like making the chicken into the charcoal or the beef into the charcoal from that same cow, from that same animal, and then you're using it and you're burning it, and the smoke from it is what's flavoring the meat. But you don't have to do that because these stones don't have any manipulation or flavor. It's literally the blood or the juice, and that creates the flame for anything.
Absolutely.
The smoke, but that smoke is flavored by its own blood as opposed to hitting it, fusing with the mesquite, and coming back up as both.
Yeah.
Because it's still the flavor of the meat, but it's just mesquite flavored meat.
Exactly.
And this is just meat flavored smoke.
Exactly. And I mean, some of those woods can be so powerful that everything just tastes like that.
Is anybody smoking meat that way now?
Here?
Yeah, like with those stones.
Not that I know.
If you keep them far enough away, that smoke, and you keep that drip, you get a way to get those drippings to filter into it, and it falls, and then that smoke is coming up through. But if you keep it at a certain distance, you could smoke that way.
Oh, absolutely! That's a total engineering project right there. All you have
to have it far enough away because that high ass heat.
Right. Just have a drip pan that leads to it or whatever,
and then that smoke will just filter in heavy.
I think that's okay. We're gonna edit that part out. We're gonna take that part out. You guys on live, nobody run that. No, that's a great idea, actually, man. But yeah, that's, and what I love about the Japanese culture is that you take something that simple and you just plate it very simply, just a couple of different items, maybe some condiments off to the side. But when you get the plate, it's just a small, simple plate of just that one piece of yakitori. So then all you have to do is focus. Yeah, you're not like in New Mexico, you get the big plate of beans, rice, You know,
Where's the star here?
it's all
Well, we're all
it's
very
all
special.
it's all blanketed underneath that chili, you know, and you don't know where to even start. You know, it doesn't even matter. But over there, it's just like focus on this for a second, then you really like concentrate on the bite that you're about to take. You know, and that's when you can really like taste those differences. You know, one of the things that I really look forward to doing again, like I said, is that New Mexico sushi. What is it? New Mexico served in like a modern Japanese way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And being able to showcase some of this stuff to a lot of native New Mexicans that a lot of this stuff has just slipped right by them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They don't know why they liked it. They just like, I like it, you know? So
manipulate the flavors that are close to their hearts.
Yeah, exactly. And just totally like, or just simplify them, refine them to
Yeah.
just that
Show
purest
them
form.
what they can be at their best.
Exactly. You know, taking, cooking the beans with more like
culture,
dehydrated beans. Or
adding
whatever.
the Japanese culture to it is like being responsible and to the earth and making sure that where the product you're getting from is, you know, those people are being responsible, and it's not just like it's culture, and it's so much like pride involved in and everything is like that. I don't remember his term for it, but he has like a term about the pride of cooking for your chef, and you know, every cook has it until they become a chef themselves, and for now they're, you know, there to represent you, and they're so loyal, and that's what the Japanese style is.
Yeah.
You could see the thoughtfulness in everything they do, and that's why like 3 pieces of fish and like a few drops of this and that are just like, what the hell, you know?
Yeah.
Vinegars and the way they manipulate flavors, and it's unreal.
Yeah, it just
they care for stuff more than everyone else. It seems.
Yeah, it's really really prideful in kind of the culture and the traditions that they've laid in place. You know, and respect out there is huge. You know, respect for elders and things like that. It's really huge. What would you say is one thing that you really love about New Mexican culture?
I love the closeness to the Native American culture that we have, and you know, if you're born and raised here like I am, you know, it goes back pretty far generational. I'm pretty sure I'm like 5th generation Mexican American. So, you know, 5-6 generations back, we're Mexican, and then, you know, obviously making their way up. Back in those days, it was kind of all Mexico, all through New Mexico and Texas, and you know, so I have some deep relatives who were part of, you know, the White Caps with Vicente Silva and all those wild West stories. So a lot of deep roots in that world, and it's pretty exciting to know that people were very fearful of our neck of the woods back in the day, and you know, and within good reason, because it was very much the Wild West, and people were living that way, and you know, it was people who were prominent business owners in many of our towns were also, you know, robbers and thieves and murderers at night, and nobody knew their whole lives. So it's like a lot of deep-rooted secrecy that goes on with the culture out here, and you know, I feel very connected to that. It's pretty awesome.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, a lot of people, you know, especially when I travel around or whatever, and being in California, you know, New Mexico is still kind of like, you know, just people don't know about it. It's like foreign to them.
Untouched,
yeah. And one of the funniest stories that I had is when I first moved to California, and I go to Home Depot, pay with a credit card, and they're like, "Can we see your ID?" So I give them my New Mexico ID, and they're like, "Oh, sorry, we don't take you know, foreign IDs." And I was like, "It's a state." You know, and the lady, the look, the look,
Sure they tested me about California.
the look on her face was just like she was like confused, like, "What? I never heard of New Mexico," you know. But yeah, and that's the thing, is that we used to be part of Mexico, and so when people ask me, you know, where are you from? And I say New Mexico. They're like, "Oh, so you're Mexican?" I'm like, "Well, not necessarily, you know. Like it's more complex than that."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm from New Mexico.
Not to them, bro.
Yeah. My family grew up in this region. You know, you know, my grandmother and her family actually grew up in Las Vegas, and then my dad and his side of the family actually over here in like the Barelas neighborhood, stuff like that. So, but they have been there for like a long time, many generations. You know, and it's just, you know, that's why I try to tell people who try to simplify it. I'm like, no, I'm not that simple. Like,
no.
Either I'll give you some information and some links to go look at. You know, you could do your own research.
If you want.
But don't think that I'm that simple. You know.
Yeah, and if you talk to Mexicans, like I know lots of people from Mexico and friends of mine, and to them, we're not Mexican, we're Chicanos.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's levels to it, but to like many people here in America, we're just Mexicans to them.
Hmm.
So it's just a generalization. I don't always like go into it, like, well, family from Spain and family from here
Yeah,
and there.
yeah.
It's like, nah, whatever. I have a lot of different blood,
You can
so
only have that
I can't
conversation
do it.
so many
You
times,
can't do it,
I mean, you
So I'm
get
just like,
asked
yeah,
daily.
it's Mexican,
Yeah,
sure.
whatever you want,
It's all
man.
good.
Yeah, yeah. Now,
Yeah.
when I got one of those ethnic chameleon looks. So when I was in Florida, I was Puerto Rican, Dominican, and then when I moved out to California, like they thought I was Filipino,
When
Hawaiian.
you came back to New Mexico and you got the interns,
Yeah, yeah. And then
them.
sometimes New Mexicans don't even like. I get asked by New Mexicans, so what are you? Are you Asian? Or I'm like, no, I'm New
People
Mexican.
think I'm native a lot too. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
so it's just like,
yeah.
I probably am, but it's just,
Yeah, it's one of those things, man. Well, we're getting here to the end. So I like to do like a lightning round.
okay.
Just kind of ask a couple questions,
Let's do
and
this.
you just give me whatever's on the top of your head.
Okay.
Favorite piece of cooking equipment?
Ah, I like the fish spat.
The fish bat.
Yeah,
Okay.
I like flipping a piece of fish when it's ready.
Yeah.
Because I used to have a chef who's one of my mentors, and he used to get really pissed off at me because I would like always move the pan early, or I would always like use the fish spat. And he's like, when the fish is ready, it will release itself.
Yeah.
So I had to learn to be patient.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's like, the spat is not for removing it from the pan. It is for flipping it.
Yeah.
So, he would like, you don't even have to go underneath it with it.
Yeah.
He's like, when the fish is done, you shake your pan a little bit, the fish will move, and then you take your fish spat, you put it up against the side of the fish, and you just push it, and it'll plop right over, flip over, away from you, so you don't burn yourself, obviously.
Yeah.
So he explained it in that very simple way, So I just was very prideful when I would flip the fish over, and that golden brown on a piece of halibut would be there, and so it's my tool of choice.
Yeah. Nothing more rewarding than flipping over a piece of meat or whatever and getting that perfect caramelization.
Nothing more, instant karma than making that move when it's too early and you tear the shit out of it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So it teaches you a lesson immediately, or it rewards you immediately.
Yeah, yeah. That's like when you watch Grandma cook. I tell people, Grandma was never the fastest when she cooked, but she always knew exactly what her next move was. Yeah, her next move, and she would just make confident movements. She knew where everything was. Like Grandma's kitchen is like her cockpit, It's just like how we're on the line or whatever. We know exactly where everything is. We don't have to turn. Somebody asks, "Hey, where's this?" It's over there. Tata, we already know where it is. So
we're control freaks.
Yeah, yeah, a little bit, just a little bit. What is your worst kitchen nightmare?
Physical contaminants in a guest food. I can't really say like serving somebody rotten food, because if I'm doing my job every day and my cooks are doing their job every day, that should never ever happen.
Yeah.
Often guests will say that something tastes funky, but I always want to taste it because I don't believe you. I believe that my team should have done their job.
Yeah.
And if they didn't, then we'll have some serious hell to pay. But I always taste it and I make my opinion, then I make notes, and I'm responsible for if somebody thinks my food's rotten.
Right.
So somebody, the other day made the comment and through our, the system that we have to figure out how people enjoy their food or not, and they said that they received funky scallops, funky shrimp, and funky chicken, and this just so happened to be the 3 items that I prepared for dinner service.
Yeah.
So they didn't know what they were saying. So I was my day off, and I promptly sent the emails back to my chef, and I was like, "Chef, I prepared that chicken. Literally, I cut the chicken off of I prepped it,
right,
marinated it. Same with the shrimp that I thawed that day. Scallops are U10 scallops. We fly in twice a week. There's no fucking reason why they would be rotten.
Right.
And rotten scallops fill up a room.
Yeah, yeah.
And they'll tell you they're rotten before you ever sear them.
Yeah.
Nobody will ever sear a rotten scallop.
Exactly.
Because it fucking kills you when it comes out the box.
As soon as you open it.
So we don't have those in my place.
Right.
So I sent the email back, and all the channels got it, and just to let you know how serious I am, like, I don't serve that stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Ever. I'll recook food. I'll buy a whole table's food if I did that.
Right.
Literally, I'll buy the whole damn thing. I don't care what it costs.
Yeah, yeah.
And my bosses don't care what it costs.
Mm-hmm.
We fix that stuff. So
Absolutely.
the fact that it got out of my restaurant and I didn't know about it just leads me to believe that it's a little bit of a white lie.
No, absolutely. You know, when I was doing sushi out here in New Mexico in particular, I started flying, you know, once I took over as the head, we used to get in the frozen block of tuna, which is just a low grade, well, it's a yellowfin tuna, which is the smaller of the tuna. Very little flavor in it. And not only that, they're catching it, they're freezing it on the boat, they're cryovacuuming it into these blocks or whatever. So it's in a sense, it's processed.
Flash frozen?
Yeah, so I was actually getting in fresh blocks of, you know, big eye tuna from Hawaii and stuff like that, serving that. And then I was getting almost the same thing. This tuna's bad. And that was, and the only explanation was an unexperienced palate, you know, because of the flavor being just that much more strong, you know. And so that is honestly another one of those things of just having such high quality ingredients that it just doesn't taste right because people are used to just bland. Just bland. Pork isn't supposed to taste as good.
Dude, we used to have that problem with our Jadori chicken.
Yeah.
You know, it's like so fatty and buttery. It's like, this has a funk to it.
Mm-hmm.
Nope, that's a good chicken.
Yeah.
You know, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, the stuff we've been eating forever tastes a certain way, but this is the way the Japanese make this shit. This is the best chicken on the planet.
Right.
I had a problem with it too, though.
Mm-hmm.
It was funky to me, man.
Yeah.
And it was delicious, but it was like, I don't like that.
Yeah.
So I stopped using it. I'd rather just use airline chicken that I love.
Right.
You know, because I can't, even if it has a name and there's romance behind it and it's sexy and this and that, if it doesn't taste like the chicken that I love, why the hell am I going to give it to everyone?
No, exactly.
You know, I'd rather just give you the chicken that I love, and then you're going to love it too. Not this stuff that I don't love.
Right.
You know, but it's nice and expensive and I could charge whatever for it, and I'm not going to do that.
Right. Who's your favorite band or musician?
Jay-Z.
Jay-Z?
Yeah.
Nice.
He's the GOAT, man. I love him. He's the role model in all ways for us to be as men. You know, even like in his life, personal life, and you know, I think him and Beyonce are just like, they're like the matriarchs and patriarchs of my life.
Yeah.
I just love. Ever since I was a kid, my best friend, he passed away in 2012. He's always been championing Jay-Z since we were children. No joke. Like when we were kids, we were in many arguments with people because he felt Jay-Z was the best and nobody was on it yet.
Right.
They didn't realize. You know, and I think everyone's kind of coming around. And you know, true hip hop heads respect what he can do. We know that he's not the dopest at everything.
Right.
But he's the dopest at a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and I just love that guy.
I mean, he's branded himself, and
it's not just about the billions and all that. It's about like everything, man. Did you know that when Nipsey first came out with his first mixtape, Jay-Z went? You know, Nipsey put out 1,000 mixtapes and he sold them for $100 each. Yeah. For his trunk, so he's gonna make $100,000 off each album. Those are mixtapes. Yeah. Jay-Z bought 100 from him, cash money, bro. Yeah. And when Nipsey passed, he was signed to Rock Nation. Yeah. So this is an early relationship. That's how Jay-Z's building a relationship with this kid, with this man, by literally buying 100 mixtapes. You know what that's $10,000. You're selling shit out of the trunk of your car, and the biggest rapper in the game fucking buys those. That's just like motivation for the rest of your life, bro. That's like Thomas Keller coming in here and being like, I need 1,000 tacos right now, bro. Yeah. Me and you are going to get back there. We're going to make those 1,000 tacos. Absolutely. Because of what it means to the culture. Right. Jay-Z knows what it means. You know, and I love him for that, bro. Hell yeah. I was not a fan of Nipsey when he was alive. I didn't know. It wasn't that I hated him or I just wasn't put onto him. Right. You know, the guy who put me on the music passed in 2012, and like I've been kind of away from it, and I'll discover it organically. But he was always pushing music in my ear, and I know he would have pushed Nipsey. Yeah. But nobody did. So I discovered it on my own after he passed, and now I'm just like blown away by this kid. Oh, absolutely. You know, oh my God. I'm the same way. I want to be a better person because of him. You know. Yeah. You know, it's just like these guys are the ones who inspired us, and you know, our generation is like all about. Like I'm moved with if you move me, I'm on board. Right. You know, and those guys fucking move me, dude. Like Jay-Z, Nipsey, they move me. Right. You know, so I love it and I dig it. You know. Yeah. I love. I actually just recently got on to Nipsey too after his passing, and
just some of those lyrics, man, they just grab you, you know,
I'm gonna find some of those
grind and
original,
motivate, you know. And,
those original albums. I
yeah.
bet you people are selling them.
Oh, for
You
sure.
know, I want to buy each one of those mixtapes, probably $1,000 each
Yeah,
or something.
yeah.
But just like, can't imagine. Like that must be. My wife read me a story about how Lauren and him met. She was buying some mixtapes for her cast members.
Oh, yeah.
So she understood at the time. She heard about this kid who was selling $100 mixtapes. Was supposed to be the dopest.
Yeah.
That's how she met him.
Wow.
And then they fell in love.
Yeah.
You know, that's crazy. You know,
That's
it's just life.
Well, I mean, an opposite side of the spectrum was also how Chance the Rapper, how he got his come up where he just gave his stuff away.
Yeah.
Too.
Put it out for free.
Put it out for free. Next thing you know, like everybody's buying it, everybody's jamming to it, and then he gets skyrocketed to the top.
And
you know,
you're getting sponsored by everyone now, and you know, you got people making hats and.
But it all comes down to getting creative and actually just ultimately like not caring. Like Nipsey probably knew like, yeah, I'm gonna come out with this, but you know he's gonna have to promote himself as this bad motherfucker, you know, and then he's gonna have to back it up, you know, otherwise that's it. Like he'll be a scam artist if he's the guy who makes $100 mixtapes and then it's garbage
And it's
you know
trash.
Yeah.
You can't even get to that point unless you're co-signed. You know,
Yeah.
he was just such a gifted lyricist that it was okay for him to do that, and his mixtapes were selling out immediately within weeks.
Right.
You know, and it's special. You know, when you have someone like that who's doing it from the trunk of their car with no care and no, you know, he didn't have no like fear.
Yeah.
There's no fear involved, and you know that comes from an upbringing that has made you into who you are, and you know he's a special person, and you can't not. Those types of feats are not made for anyone. You know, those people who achieve that sort of greatness, they do so because they're special and they deserved it. You know, and you know he got what he got in life. You know, every bit of it he deserved it. You know, and in death he didn't deserve none of it. So it's sad that I didn't know about him when he was alive, but you know I plan on championing his music in his death, and I love it, you know, and just the culture is gonna miss that dude.
Absolutely.
You know, and you know, I just super sad for him and his family and everyone close to him. It's really, really tragic.
So I know that working with you at the Hyatt, you know, weren't really able to listen to any kind of music and stuff like that. And for me, it's very like I love my last restaurant. Yeah, during service, you know, we cut out the music, but during prep work and stuff like that, you know, we play some music. I think we are the same over there too. During the prep time, at least we'd have some music playing or something. But I don't know how important to you is music in the kitchen, like when you cook.
It's very important, but you know, even more important than that is the vision of our chef and the discipline that we have to maintain. So if it's the wish of the exec chef to not have music, then it's my duty to ensure that nobody's listening to music and that, you know. So we're about lots of communication. So we can't be, you know, you're not allowed to whistle, obviously, spit on food. You're not allowed to, you know, there's lots of movements that aren't allowed in our kitchen that you're briefed when you first arrive, and then you know about them forever, and they're the sin. So don't commit them. You know, we don't listen to music in our kitchens. You know, it's just the wish of our leader. You know, so that's what we're there to represent. My kitchen, when I had it, we listened to music very loudly.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just who I am. That's how my kitchens run. You know, but you have to also design menus around really not communicating during the rush because the music loud. You can't talk a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and our menus were short order cooking where we didn't have to talk. Lisa and I were connected, so you know, and I'm sure we could have ran corn menu with music if we wanted.
Oh yeah.
And we were all together. But you know, it was very quiet and we were very professional, and that's a whole different world.
Yeah.
You know, when you're wearing those whites and you're in there and you're banging out hard, it's like it's a different world, and you respect that world because it's a certain refinement and beauty to that style. But I love this style too, cooking like this with an apron on and just going.
Right.
You know, so I can appreciate all the different sides of it. But yeah, music is important.
Absolutely.
Very important.
I like that. And what was the last thing that you cooked for yourself?
Let me see. My wife made me eggs this morning. I cooked. What did I make? I made us some cheesesteaks last week.
Nice.
So I made the cheesesteaks from my restaurant, Cafe Bien. So I bought some New York strip. I bought bolillo rolls from El Dorado Bakery in the South Valley. Those dudes are the dopest bakers you've ever seen. They built their own oven, big horno. They built that shit, and then they make bread and pastries.
Yeah.
They sell out every day. They make them fresh. They're brothers. Go check them out.
El Dorado?
Yeah, El Dorado. It's like on Broadway and like Gibson.
Okay.
Really amazing breakfast burrito. Really amazing red chili pork burrito, and then a picadillo burrito. Bro, their food is phenomenal.
Heck yeah.
And so I got the bolillo roll from there, seared that on my plancha with some butter, peppers, onions, mushrooms, grilled the steak, sliced it super thin.
Yeah.
I took smoked Gouda and I made it into a fondue with heavy cream.
Nice.
And I'm talking a thick ass fondue. I cooked it for like an hour and a half.
Wow.
It was thick and caramelized. And then, put the bread, put the steak, put the peppers, put the cheese on top,
Right.
smash it, and then that's the Cafe Bien cheesesteak. So that's what I made for us about 5 days ago.
Oh, nice.
It was enough for like 6 cheesesteaks, so we had like 3-4 days of cheesesteaks. It's like my favorite thing.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
And
man,
then,
cheesesteaks is...
And then I made that fondue, smoked Gouda.
Yeah.
Stupid, bro.
Oh,
It's so good. Yeah.
I like Chef Mike at his restaurant just recently too, or whatever. But I was doing a Mornay on it, and then throwing that underneath the salamander and getting just that blister on there too. Oh my god!
Bechamel, the Swiss cheese.
Yeah. So good. This has been such a good time, man. We're gonna get back into the kitchen. We're gonna make a taco.
Let's do it. The Tres Hermanas.
The Tres Hermanas. You want to tell everybody what it's gonna be like?
So Three Sisters is it's a Native American. It's the trifecta of gardening. So it's the beans, it's the squash, and it's the corn, and they're all said to be near and dear to the Native American culture. And it was explained to me, and I don't know the details of it, but they're very friendly to one another in gardening. So they grow the best together. So many gardeners who are professionals, they build these in the triangle, or they build this garden, and the three help each other grow.
Oh, nice.
Or one feeds the other, or something happens. I
Right.
don't remember the details, but so I like to play around with those flavors. So my taco is the Tres Hermanas, or the Three Sisters. It's gonna have blue corn.
Yep.
It's gonna have black bean hummus. It's going to have calabacitas and avocado crema, cilantro. And that's all right.
Maybe we even do.
Charred
I guess
jalapeno.
we got some charred jalapeno in there. We could even pickle the corn if you think it might
Hell
be good
yeah.
on top of it.
You know it
We
would
got
be
the-
good.
Yeah.
Because I don't have
Yeah.
any pickle. We could pickle the jalapeno on the corn.
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
want,
There you go. We'll get some brightness with that.
Or
Awesome,
even,
man.
Yeah, just hit it with some vinegar or something in the end. Or
Hell yeah.
definitely.
So this all started with me and you talking, and you actually pushing me yeah, you should do that. Like how Raul pushed you. And so thank you for always being somebody
I knew it
who.
would be a killer idea for you to do it, and we talked about it a lot, and I always said I would want to be on there, and definitely weren't able to come out first. My competitive nature.
Yeah. No, I just want to thank you, man, for being not only inspirational to me, but inspirational to a lot of the chefs around town. Being somebody who we can confide in. Being somebody.
Shout out to our boy. So hopefully he brings home a championship.
That's what I'm
for
saying.
us.
I don't even know what he's
at,
doing.
But I want a championship when he returns.
Yeah, Mark.
Oh my
Mark
God.
Quinones. Yeah, you better come back with something, man.
Oh my God.
At least some good stories.
That's all we will say.
Yeah. Absolutely.
'Cause I don't want him to be upset with me.
Anyways, love you, man.
Yeah, for sure, bro.
Thank you,
Love you
brother.
too, man.
Yes, sir.
Anytime.
Yes. Got Chef Mike coming up next week. Tune in for that. Tune in to, we're now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor FM, and also our YouTube channel. Let's Taco About It, Taco with a K. Please check all those out. Like, subscribe, comment on all that stuff. Go check Ernesto out at Corn Maiden. And, yeah, man, tune in for...
Shout out to my whole crew at the Hyatt Tamaya.
Shout!
A couple of names in general: Koji, George, Josh, Brian, Chef Noe, Chef Richard, Chef Josh, you know, the whole team, everyone, love everyone.
Absolutely. One last thing is, so once we get done wrapping up your taco, and when it comes your time to shine over here, we're going to feature that taco here, and we're going to donate all proceeds to a charity of your choice. Do you know a charity that you like to?
Do you have charities you're working with having to do with anything with breast cancer?
I mean, we can find one.
Yeah.
I haven't.
I would prefer to do something towards breast cancer or cancer awareness of any sort.
Absolutely, absolutely. That sounds great, man. Awesome, guys. We're tuning out, but stay kind of around because we're going to be in the kitchen. We're going to record that too. So we'll get back to you guys then.
Peace.
Peace.